Hello, you're watching Friday edition of News Mongolia. Today is May 6th. For our top stories, 22 projects worth of $5 billion to be implemented in energy sector. IMF estimates that the Mongolian economy will grow by 1% in 2022. 15th World Forestry Congress is held. For other news, stay tuned. The 15th World Forestry Congress is being held in Seoul, Republic of Korea. Park Dirten, the Minister of Nature and the Environment and Tourism, is representing Mongolia at the Forestry Congress, introducing the policy, decisions, and projects of the government of Mongolia aimed to create an environmental balance. In addition to protecting forests, the World Forestry Congress is being held under the theme Building a Green, Healthy, and Resilient Future with Forests. The conference is an environmentally friendly solution directed towards reducing and fighting deforestation and desertification. Also, 40 panel discussions with various themes including green trend, ensuring growth and forests, and its impact on health were organized. The main topics of the Forestry Congress also included information and knowledge, forest management and regulation, etc.
If we look back at the South Korean forestry sector, it has sufficient human resources. There are branches in each region that are responsible for forest issues. The country has sufficient human resources to carry out large-scale forest development projects. However, the Mongolian Forest Agency plans to have a small number of human resources. If we can recruit some capable professionals, we think that we can make big progress in the forestry sector. There is the Asia-Pacific Forestry Commission. Member countries pay a certain amount of membership subscription fee each year. The Asia-Pacific Forestry Commission, which is based in the Republic of Korea, will, after collecting the membership fees, earmark funds for some project proposals submitted by its members. The conference is discussing a decision to provide about $1 million in funding towards projects in Mongolia.
Representatives of other countries participating at the World Forestry Congress note that forest protection is not just a matter of one country or nation, but the global community should pay attention to mitigating climate change and its consequences. The IMF estimated the Mongolian economic growth to be around 7% last year. However, they have lowered it down as far as 1% in 2022.
At this point,
because of the unexpected circumstances in global affairs, Mongolia is facing real economic challenges. The global shock has strongly affected Mongolia. Thus, the IMF, in its economic outlook, is lowering the economic growth estimate down to 1%. The threat of high inflation will remain in the coming years. Prices of food products and crude oil rose internationally due to the current situation between Russia and Ukraine. Thus, it is estimated that the inflation will remain high for some time to come. The good news is that Mongolia successfully overcame the pandemic shock with appropriate government measures compared to other countries. The government policies played a huge role in coping with the pandemic crisis. Further, the IMF representative added that government of Mongolia must define the focus groups for its welfare program if they wish to continue with the social welfare program. Otherwise, welfare programs assisting people with disposable income will only serve rising inflation and increases the demand for imported goods, which leads to spending foreign currencies of the central bank, depreciating the MNT rate, and in turn resulting in increased price for imported goods. The IMF projects the economic growth to be 1% and the projected inflation rate to be about 15.5% for 2022 and requested that the banks postpone their coming IPOs for the economy will take time to stabilize. Our next story, as part of the new revival policy, it is planned to expand the capacity of thermal power plants and renovate 8 more sources of energy. Mongolia currently produces 80% of its domestic needs and imports the rest 20% from abroad.
The industry has faced 2 energy crises in its history. In the winter of 1978 and in the early 1990s, limited electricity was used to recover the energy sector for 5 to 7 years, and apartment households used very little heating. Currently, the installed capacity of our power plants are equal to 1,525 megawatts, and the energy consumption is growing by 7 to 8% annually, and we have no sources to cover this demand. Thermal power plants and distribution networks can operate for 32 to 62 years. Therefore, if we do not expand and renovate our power plants and build new thermal and hydro power plants, we might live in apartments with those without electricity.
On January 21st, 1978, 4 people were killed in an explosion due to dust in the fuel line of the third power plant. At the time, just turning on the warm water saved the city from freezing. The problem lasted for 5 years, and in 1984, the fourth power plant was put into operation. The second crisis began in 1990. The most difficult year was in 1992 in Mongolia. That year, 243 days out of 365 days had energy restrictions.
In order to bring recovery to energy sector, 22 projects planned to be included in the new recovery policy. It's estimated to cost about $5 billion. According to the plan, 8 main sources to be built in the regions.
In the eastern region, the Dornot power plant will be expanded by 50% megawatts. This work has already begun. The Irtenburun hydro power plant will be built in the western region with a capacity of 90 megawatts. With soft loan, the investment has been decided and construction is about to begin. 2 sources are to be built in the central region. The nearest or most accessible is the Barnur power plant. With the entry of this power plant, the operation of the central region will become stable. The other is a Taun Talra power plant. The construction works of the Tilmun power plant in Atta and Odlasta will begin this fall. Initially, it is estimated that 50 megawatts will be commissioned in 18 months. If we do that, Alta or Odlasta regions will get back to normal and can develop further.
If these energy sources are built in a timely manner, the capacity of the power system will increase by 665 megawatts in 2025 and by 200 megawatts of the Bagnor power plant in the first half of 2026. In terms of heating, we will now able to make up for 51% shortfall. It is also necessary to liberalize prices so that the sector does not collapse, so that sector can repay the investment needed for new sources.
Now let's take a look at the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. Here comes the weather forecast for the world's major cities. This is it for today. Thank you for staying with us. We'll see you next time with more news updates. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.